Hi, Michael. Welcome to my podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining me.
Wonderful to be here, Victoria.
Thank you so much. I would like to kick things off by you introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what you do.
Yes, my name is Mike Sabbeth. I'm an attorney and founder of Sabbeth Law. We represent injured people throughout Vermont and New Hampshire, and by throughout I mean we cover the entirety of both states. Uh, we opened our doors in 2015, and I think we've very quickly become one of the leading plaintiffs firms in either state.
And I know you spoke about focusing on many big cases. Is that correct?
Yeah, we handle very high level cases. We've done 8-figure cases. We've done many 7-figure cases, which is somewhat unusual for Northern New England. Northern New England is not a place where people are loose with money. you know, you see wealthy people up here. They're not driving a lot of Mercedes or BMW. It's a sort of it's a bit buttoned down, a bit economically conservative, and it makes our job more interesting when presenting these, what we call catastrophic loss cases to our community members, and trying to show them, not tell them, but really show them why the losses that we're dealing with matter so much. And when we're stuck in a system that only allows financial damages, that's the only recourse they're ever going to get in their lives, and we've been able to do that effectively.
So, why did you decide to get into the field of personal injury law?
Well, two reasons. One, when I went to law school, I wanted to be a trial lawyer. I want to be in court. I want to be on my feet. I want to be moving. I like pressure. I like moving quickly, and I really like being on my feet. But I have to care about what I'm doing. Otherwise, I really struggle, and that's been true in my whole life. So I either have to learn a way to care about something that I might not start there with, or I have to do something that's very natural to me. And before we started recording, we were talking about dog rescue, right? And I do some volunteer work, personally there, and we both have dogs. And there's something within that. There's a real desire. I think it's the same reason I try to help with rescue dogs where I can, of just wanting to help people who can't really help themselves in certain situations. So when I see something terrible that's happened to somebody and has changed their lives, it affects me on, on a, I think a deep emotional level. And a lot of the work we do is work of, it's really work of empathy. It's work of, and all the lawyers here do it, of understanding what they're going through, of putting ourselves in their shoes, of going to their houses, of meeting the people who matter to them, of learning about what matters to them. And then we can begin to see what those losses look like. And the other truth of it is, handling these big cases, you need a lot of money. That's just, I'd say a sad reality. But that's just the truth. People who do what I do represent people on largely contingency fee bases. If we're going to put some $100,000 into a case, we might just never. If we lose that case or something happens, we don't send a bill to the client for our
Right.
expenses. We absorb that loss, and we stand prepared to. So one of the great advantages that we've been able to procure for ourselves over the years through doing good work and doing work, is working with some of the best lawyers around the nation. And through that, we don't just learn different ways of doing things, but we also learn. We've also ended up with an incredible network of experts from all over the country. So when we're dealing with brain injury cases, right now I'm just thinking of the case that we were on a call with the life care planner earlier. Our experts aren't, here we are in Vermont. That's a Vermont case. Our experts are in Wisconsin, Provost, Utah, California, and Georgia. Not one here. The reason for that is because those are the best experts for brain injuries. A very hard case to show because it's an invisible injury often, right? And it's those types of networks and knowing how to build a case that makes a difference between $1 million case and a $5 million case. But
So
the
it sounds
risk
like you guys.
follows it. Sorry, I'm sorry, Victoria.
No, no, you're good. So it sounds like you guys put a lot of thought and a lot of care into every single case,
Yeah,
and you probably get a lot of referrals. That's probably one of your major ways of marketing. But
absolutely.
for our listeners who don't have referrals yet, what other things do you do to get those big cases, to try to get as many good cases as you can?
I really think today, and what worked for us when we were starting, and again, we started in December of 2015 with nothing. Me and one and my legal assistant and office manager, Crystal, who came with me from my old firm. Now we can't hire enough. We just can't. SEO, internet, internet work, and when you're beginning, I think it's just so important to educate yourself. There are wonderful professionals out there who do this specifically for law firms or for any number of different types of businesses who are also great for law firms, companies like your own. And it's critical, I think, to work with a company like that because I'll just share my experience. I have been studying SEO since the minute I opened my firm. I believe I know more about SEO than probably any of my competitors or most of them because I put in an inordinate amount of time. In the beginning, money was there was less, of course, and I had to do what I could do with what I had. And so the education process of learning at a minimum the basics of all aspects of online optimization, and that's from paid ads, which might be prohibitive in some markets, local service ads, which we find have a great return on investment, pay per click, and on it goes. But the organic work is something that a lot of people don't do. And I think that if you can just educate yourself to a baseline, find an agency that you're comfortable with, that's where you're going to make the most inroads to generating cases when you don't have any word of mouth whatsoever. I think if you can afford paid, that can help get you over the hump. Lawyers are not known to be patient. Well, in this arena, you need to be somewhat patient, right? Not so patient that you can't, buy groceries. But search engine optimization does not happen overnight, but it does happen. And paid can get you through. But generate reviews, do your best. We're all busy. A lot of lawyers. I think we have more reviews than any of our competitors by a really significant amount because we take it as seriously as our cases. There is a trigger on our case management system, multiple ways through about reviews and when to ask. I think when you ask is very important. I think we know what they write about in the review is very important. I don't ever tell them what to write, but I know that if they write car accident, injury, keywords in that review, that's going to be helpful. More importantly, it's going to help other people looking for somebody who can help them. So in tandem, what a lot of SEO agencies maybe won't be as well equipped to do as the law firm, as those of us who are face to face with our clients and who have a relationship by the time we're asking with a review with our clients, is to make sure we're the ones getting the reviews. I think those, between paid, organic, and the review aspect, you're essentially merging word of mouth with online presence, and they both feed into each other. You have a virtuous cycle, and that's what I would be really, really drilling down into if I was starting a new firm right now. That would be number one on my list. Those things, low hanging fruit, linking opportunities. I mean, we could go on and on, but I don't. I think I'll let you direct the interview.
Well, just to clarify for our listeners, so having a lot of reviews on the GMB is a big part of the algorithm, right? Google
Absolutely.
My Business Listing, Google Business Profile, as it's now called. So the more reviews you have, the better. I always say, even if you gave somebody a consultation and you didn't end up taking the case, you can also ask them for a review.
That's right.
I I would love to know at what point in the process you ask for reviews, because those are such a major part. And I know some of my clients have trouble with getting reviews, so I would love to hear your tips on that.
Okay. Yeah, happily. So, timing and making it as easy on them as is humanly possible. The timing part. We usually don't ask until we've gotten to a point where either they've signed a release for settlement, we've negotiated, we've gotten through it, we've mediated, whatever has happened, we've gotten to the result. We usually don't ask before. We want to show them what we've done before we ask them for anything. So by that point, we've shown them what we can do. We've shown them how we would handle their case. We've been with them from the beginning to the end. And we have a case management software that lets the assigned legal assistant know exactly when that time happens. Automated. They cannot forget. They have a task on their screen that will not go away until they've reached out. But making it, and we do it, by the way, usually before the funds are distributed, because we're all busy. And just like might be true for us in some circumstances, when the case is over, I mean, it's not fun being involved in one of these. I think a lot of people want to close the book and move on and happily have the money and hopefully forget some of the unpleasantness of what happened from the minute they were injured. So I think it is really important to do it before the funds are distributed, after the result, after you've shown them what you're gonna do for them. Making it easy for them means getting them a link. Don't ask them to go to your website or to go to Google and figure out how to do it. Don't tell them how to do it. Include a link that's going to get them right to your Google, and they're just not going to have to do anything other than click the link, hit the star rating, and write what they have to say. And I just want to touch one more time on this because it's so important. I can write anything I want on my website. I truly can. I don't want people having to take my word. I think it's a little bit self-serving. We all understand that on a basic human level. My clients talk for me, and they talk for me through the reviews. Don't take my word. Look at any of the 150 whatever reviews on Google, wherever else they may be, super lawyers, Facebook. It doesn't matter, because people, just like jurors, are far less interested in what I have to say than what the reflections of the reality of people who were there and lived it have to say.
So to go back to that point, yes, it's important to have reviews on third-party software, but it's just as important to have it on your website. And so what we found is that incorporating those reviews throughout your webpage,
Yeah.
as you are, talking about being, let's say, a car accident lawyer, and then you have a review of being, a great case. And then again, you have some other text, and then you have another review. That's very important. We've A/B tested this.
Yes.
By adding additional reviews throughout the page, you can bring the strength of those reviews that are on third party into your website.
Can I give you a plug? Find a
Yes.
firm that's doing A/B testing. Not everyone does
Yeah.
it. Some people say they do it, and it seems maybe they don't. I don't know, but I think good firms are doing that, and because again, you're the expert. We know that, right? But let's see how people actually react and interact, and that's what why that A/B testing is critical. And a lot of firms don't do it.
And the most important place to do A/B testing, like you mentioned before, PPC is much more expensive than SEO. The most important thing to do on A/B testing is on your ad page. If your agency is not doing A/B testing on wherever they're sending traffic, that is a problem because you are paying more than you should be for those clicks,
That is a
for
huge
those
problem.
conversions.
And I'll go a step further. PPC, as you know, as you said, can be very, very expensive depending on what
Mm-hmm.
you're bidding. And you need an agency that's constantly dialing that in and showing you what was different this month than last month. What did we change? Why? We don't have to get crazy granular, right? We don't have to autopsy it. But again, one, hopefully, you start with an agency you trust, you meet the people, get to know them, ask them questions. You'll get a feeling. But they have to be honing it. But I just need to say, because I know some successful firms up here where the people are running their own paid ads. They cannot do what you're talking about. And let me tell you, they are burning money. Don't do it. You will save more money by paying the agency to dial it in, to get it right. The agency that knows what they're doing. Talk to them about your demographic. Make sure that you give them all the information they need. And in any situation I've ever seen, whatever you're paying them is money saved over what you think you're doing while you're trying to run your law firm and work your cases, and somehow continually dialing your PPC, you're not doing it correctly.
Right. And don't forget, we are like lawyers in the sense of we have prior experience. So if I'm starting doing, let's say, your ad campaign, I'm bringing in all the stuff I already learned from other clients. You know what I
Of
mean? I'm not
course.
starting from scratch. I know that this color works better than this color for this kind of law. And that's stuff you got to get through experience. Nobody's going to tell you that stuff because it's
It
expensive. It's
is.
expensive to learn.
Well, thank you. It's expensive to learn because I think people really, it's penny wise, pound foolish.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
they're going to save a few hundred, a couple thousand. I don't know what they're going to save, but they're losing more in the long run because they're paying an agency for the education, for all the time they spent learning this. And as I think we spoke about the fact of the nature of the work and that it is evolving day after day after day without a break. And you have to have a professional whose job is simply to stay on top of that, to manage it. You're gonna you want to take a shortcut, you can do it, but prepare not to have a family or a life, and prepare to have subpar results.
Right. Right. So you've done, it sounds like you've really understand marketing, pretty much as well as any lawyer I've spoken to. And you've done a lot of things right. Tell me the one thing that you've done wrong.
Oh God.
What was your biggest marketing fail?
I mean, I have a huge list.
Just one.
One. I mean, okay. I think doing the opposite of what I've been talking about through, which is to say, right away, start the firm. I'm trying to learn anything about SEO. I have my money in stuff that feels more tangible, say for like phone books, right? Which are no more, and other similar things. Radio, which I don't think works unless you're running a coordinated campaign with TV. Unless you just have money to spend on some branding, I think it's a fine thing to do. You better make sure that you have your intervals. How many commercials are you running per day? When are you running them? So on and so forth. To me, it's not a good use of our money. I don't spend any money on that. All our money, most of our money, we spend a lot of money on branding outside, but most of it goes in. But when I began, I did not really study. I didn't understand the basics of SEO, and I spent money on a few agencies that I just sort of picked without really speaking to, without hopping on a Zoom call or Skype as it would have been back then, I guess. Um, and I didn't understand what was being done or why it was being done. And I just knew I needed it done, whatever it was. And I paid thousands and thousands of dollars and really didn't have any result. And these were one-off works. So I would say The biggest mistake I would be is not asking questions, not understanding that, in order to make sure you get with the right agency in the first place, right? You need to know something, learn something. I mean, it's not terribly hard. Google probably, I bet if you Googled SEO for dummies, you'd probably get a 10-minute article that would tell you a lot. Do that and talk and ask questions and be open and have rapport with whomever you're speaking to, because that's how you're going to learn. If somebody is not interested in helping you learn, it's probably not the right fit.
Yeah.
I guess what I would say is slow down, do due diligence, would be my best recommendation. I think that's really it. I have a lot of sort of what I would say small losses, most of them in the beginning. But if you're out there and you're trying things, you're going to have them. And don't be afraid of them. Don't be stupid. Don't be fast. Don't be too fast and lose. But don't be afraid to get it wrong. We're not, no one's perfect. You're not going to get it
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very don't be fast and loose, but don't be so afraid to make mistakes. I have a
Hmm.
lot of people come to me who've been burned by other agencies, and they almost have PTSD, because I feel
Yes.
like they're coming from like, oh my God, this bad thing happened, and it did, and I get it, and I get it. It's upsetting, but you're here now,
Well, that's
and
right.
things will get better. Especially that now that you have those lessons.
That's right. And it's a very vulnerable position. Again, I think a lot of lawyers aren't particularly comfortable being vulnerable. So we step into your
Mhm.
world, Victoria, right? Where we don't know a whole lot. We certainly don't know how much, as much as you know. And, if somebody, like you said, they come in with that bad experience, so many of us have had them. I've had them. It's part of growing up, I guess, maybe, whether we like it or not. But, yeah, there are not everyone's bad. There
Yeah.
are a lot
Yes.
of great. There are a lot of great companies. There are really good companies. I think these days in all price ranges. Yeah, don't project the past on the future. Learn from the past, but don't
Hmm.
let it limit your world, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up cold and alone, and you'll be worse for wear. That's a good way to let an old loss just carry forward and keep compounding the losses, and nobody wants that.
You know what? It works in relationships and it works in marketing.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us on Law Firm Accelerator. I appreciate you giving up some of your very valuable time to be here. And I will be in touch with you and provide some more resources for our listeners
All
as to the
right.
things we discussed.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Victoria. It was a pleasure. It was lovely speaking with you, and keep doing good work.
Thank you.